My goal is now to explain to you how to run a py file. There are many different installations of Python that are possible. Basically, it will depend on the machine, the software you have installed, and so on. So instead of trying to support everyone, I'll support one solution that everyone has access to. And this solution goes through the ThinLink client. ThinLink client is installed in the Math Institute and allows you to connect to some standardized terminals. So this is available to every student, and that's what I've done as well. So I've connected to my account, and in my account you can see at the bottom I have a terminal. So you can look at my files, and here I have a file called runningpyfiles.py. And I've opened this file above with the IDLE. Okay, so you see that this is a Python program again, and the first line is print hello. Okay, and then it does a variety of things. So let's run this file. And this will be very simple actually. I just need to type Python and then running pyfiles.py. So Python and then the file name, and I press enter. And you see that here it prints hello and then says please enter an integer. That's because here x is supposed to be assigned a value, and this value is supposed to be taken from something called row inputs. Please enter an integer. So this is the prompt, and you're expected now to enter something that will be a string, and the string is then converted to float. And then some tests happen. So let's see, I'll enter the string 5.2. And the program responds, sorry, this is not an integer. Indeed, what the next step in the program was to run a test on my input x, look at the residue mod 1, and see whether that was 0 or not. This is a poor test to see whether x really was an integer. But in any case, the result is to print this. I could have tested that the type of x was really an integer, and this might have been a more effective test. Okay, so then it executed this, and none of the else, elif or else statements, and there was nothing else to execute. So let's just try running again and see what happens. So if I run again, let me enter this time really an integer. So I'll run 11. I'll enter 11. And the program responds with 11 is a factor of your integer. Indeed, it goes through all the elif up until this one, which just simply tests whether x is divided by 11. And the answer is yes, so it will print this. So just one last example, so it's clear. If you do Python running pyfiles.py and I enter 3, then all my tests will fail, and it will say a boring integer, neither divisible or by 11 or even. Okay, so this is how you can run a py file. The interest of running a py file rather than using the interactive interpreter is that it becomes easier to do lots of nested blocks. So if here I only have if, else, or elif, so only depth 1 if you want, only one level of depth in my blocks. But Python programs tend to go a bit deeper, and then it becomes very difficult with the interactive interpreter. The interactive interpreter still has a place though. So what I usually do is that I do some test or try to remind myself of how things work in the interpreter, and then I code on the side in some window where I have a text editor, preferably with syntax highlighting. I save the file and then I run Python on this.